Well, it's that time again, kids. Another episode of Rimshots with Sean right here on the Rock Ridge Radio Network. And I have a friend here. This is becoming a regular segment. The last time we had a couple of hiccups, but this time everybody's sound is going great. We have the one, the only Christina Avila, all the way from Connecticut.
Yes.
I want to say Rhode Island, but I know it's Connecticut, so there you go. And you're on because you have some announcements.
I'm not from Erie, Pennsylvania, but hello to everybody else who is. Um, I'm a big hockey, sports fan, so um, I'm excited because Tito Puente Jr. is going to be interviewed by you guys the end
Yes.
of August. I'm so excited. He's coming to Connecticut, to this beautiful performance theater. So if anybody that you know is looking for a good show, he's coming with this amazing guitar player named Rico Monaco. And
And
they've
is
been
it
touring for
well, as it gets
over,
closer, we'll obviously be pumping that out for you on Barstools, so that's amazing.
yeah, yeah. I'm also an official artist manager to a guy named Nicky Ferrari. He's a bass player. We've been working together for a while, but for a lot of people that don't know, that's like one of my newest projects. And there was an amazing New York City tribute to Kiss called Psycho Circus. And
Oh,
they're coming to Bridgeport to the Bijou Theater.
oh, well, that's exciting.
I will
Um,
send you the link.
Please,
They're
good
incredible.
good friend of mine up here by the name of Ian Kurtz. He's from Peterborough, Ontario, and they have the Canadian sanctioned Kiss tribute called Canada Destroyer. Uh,
Wow.
and I got to see them last year in where did I see them? Last June, I saw them at the Rock Pile in Toronto. So anytime anybody does Kiss and puts that paint on, man, I'm all for it.
Cool. I guess they're fairly new. Their booking agent, his name is Ian Chris, and he reached out to me this week. And I met Ian years ago at this venue called Dingbats. He did a holiday show with Ted Poley, the frontman from Danger Danger. So my
Right.
fiance and I went twice, and he introduced me to the iconic bass player of Sin, Wasp, and Steeler, Rick Fox.
Good old
So,
Rick Fox. He's been on our show too. Yeah, he's a good fella.
yep, Ian is a good guy. And he reached out to see if I could help spread the word. And the guys in the band are just so happy. And Ian is excited. And yeah, my daughter and my fiance and I are going. We're all going the first Saturday in September.
Well, that's exciting. And if you can't see it, but if I was to turn my screen around right there, I've got a picture. It's all kinds of Kiss photographs, and I'm right in
Wow.
the middle. And it was done for me because it was like those are my influences, and I'm right in the middle of it. So it's pretty cool. And then back here, you see my Kiss memorabilia, and over there, I've got
Yeah.
the Elder, Creatures of the Night, Destroyer, all kinds of good stuff. So that's exciting. So talk about the Nicky thing there for because you and I had talked about that. And I saw he went out to LA. I think he lives in Nashville. Is that correct?
Yes, he's originally from Ithaca, New York,
Okay.
which is central New York. And he moved out to LA in the 80s, like everybody did. And then he ended up in Nashville. And he's had a lot of history. A lot of it I don't know, but he's a well-known bass player. And because of Rick Fox, I have to give a shout out to Rick Fox. Rick Fox recommended him to me. So he's got some stuff coming up. We're just waiting in the meantime. But he's just impressed with all that I do and all the interviews I do. So um hoping to get him to do an interview with you also. He's incredible. And Rick, of course, is another Kiss fan. He
Oh
grew up
yeah.
in New York.
Yes.
And he used to go to some of the Kiss shows and take pictures. And it seems like a lot of people that I'm running into lately are all Kiss fans, whether 70s, 80s, but we're all Kiss fans, Kiss Nation.
And it's interesting. Not that Kiss needs my help, but what the heck, I'll do it anyway. They released in the last, I guess, a week within each other, the 45th anniversary of Dynasty and the 40th anniversary of Animalize. And there's some,
Wow.
yeah, it's pretty good. I can't, 40 years, it was like, oh my God. That would have been like it came out the year that I actually started playing, pretty much. So that's pretty
Wow.
crazy. Don't do the math on that or anything. But anyway, so yeah,
84.
84 came out. That's right. And anyway, if you go on some of the podcasts, there's good and bad as there always is, but they released 2,500 copies of each, and apparently one of the complaints was before people could even get at it, there was already copies on eBay being sold for twice the amount that was on there. So
Jeez.
yeah, so it's pretty
Wow.
crazy. Um, and back to Rick. You would know this, but I interviewed on Keel last week, and Rick is part of the Steeler project that's on Keel World, which is very cool. They shot a video. All that stuff's coming out soon too. So yeah,
Hmm.
when I interviewed Rick, he was the guy that always got a gig because somebody quit or got fired. It was amazing.
Right. Yep. He's had a lot of history too with he and Ian actually were in a band in the 70s called Sin in New
Right.
York. And then Rick went to LA and he joined Wasp. I guess the story is, if I'm getting it correct, when he went to LA, he met a Blackie and they started a band. They were looking for a name. Well, I guess in Blackie's home in their studio, there was something crawling around on the floor. Sure enough, it was a wasp. So, but
There you
Rick,
go.
sadly, he's not mentioned in anything with Wasp anymore. Blackie just removed his name from everything. And it's
Uh,
sad because Rick is a good guy.
I don't think Rick should take that personally because he's pretty much Bucky Laws has pretty much done that with everybody from Wasp.
Right.
If you're following any of the press now, and a good friend of mine, Michael Brandvold, who actually backed the Kiss, he was the guy that started Kiss's digital, websites and those types of things. He works with Blackie, and they had to cancel that tour because of the back. And in fairness to Mr. Lawless, he doesn't think that a lot of the dynamics of all those being back in one place would be healthy for anybody. So that's a fair thing. As much as people want to see the originals,
Hmm.
sometimes it just doesn't work out. Like Sebastian Bach, love you, bud. Give up. The boys they don't want any part of it, right? And these are all things that you got to kind of,
Right.
realize it happens.
Hmm.
Bands are an interesting dynamic. So what else you got on the go?
Oh boy. Where do I
You always have
begin?
something.
Well, I've been celebrating 4.5 years of working with Greg Fox. It will be 5 years the end of January. He is a keyboardist for a symphonic rock band out in Las Vegas. And he's a composer, writer, founder for the band. And we were talking today, and it's been 4.5 years that we've been working together. And that's a
Crazy.
milestone.
Yeah, it's a lot of what do they call them, anniversaries or whatever, Facebook memories and come up. And
Hmm.
some of them are, wow, like you can't believe it. That was, I'll give you one. So when we started Barstools and Bandtalk, April 28th, 2020, and everything was shut down, as everybody knows. So we were doing a lot of it like this. We were doing a lot of virtual. July of that year, we were able to have a limited amount of people in a bar, and we were able to get 180 people into a venue that we played, and we did our one and only live show that we ever did, and that was 4 years ago. This month, if you can believe that.
Wow.
So it's pretty crazy. Yeah,
Mm,
yeah.
definitely. He's looking for some festivals. He's focusing on festivals. So if you know any festivals, Sean, if you know anyone that I can get in contact with to do festivals, because he's working on his sixth album right now, believe it or not.
Who's he signed with, or is he independent?
Um, I think he's independent. We
Uh,
tried to get some record labels, but that never happened.
because I do some work with Curtain Call Records, and they are phenomenal at getting their artists on festivals.
Okay.
A couple of their artists that I've done interviews with are playing Sturgis, which I believe is I think it's next weekend. Uh, there was a young lady, she goes by the name of Apricity. She's up here in Canada, but she happened to be in Halifax where I live, and we went down and we interviewed her, and she was doing a festival in Michigan. And Curtain Call really seems to do a great job at that. I can flip you the info there.
Thank you. They're
Yeah.
just, he's looking to get out there and start playing. Um, they're gonna start doing some Christmas shows, but they also want to do festivals. They have a Christmas album. Um, that's an amazing project. It's like Trans-Siberian, but take the Christmas out, and they just play all year round. Um, there's a guy from Norway. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm a part of this too. I just celebrated 2 years with working with him. It's something I've never heard of, but his name is Stian Pian from Norway, and he's a front man, and he has 60 musicians worldwide on his project,
Wow.
including Rick Fox and David Schenkel, David Reese, some here in the United States and some worldwide. And he's releasing tracks, I guess, once a month because that's how musicians have to do it today. So I have a bunch of his MP3s I can send you. It's
Please.
melodic rock.
That's how smart musicians are doing it these days. I've I've had the absolute pleasure of talking with a lot of people that are, industry knowledgeable people, and they just say people's attention spans just aren't there. So to release a full album, you're
Mhm.
probably not gonna capture their imagination, but if you release singles, you will. And of course, that's what we've done with Michelle, and we're having good success with it. So, I can't say that I'm smart. I'm just saying I'm a good listener and I apply some of what I learned. So it sounds like he's doing the exact same thing.
I even have his website and all that I can send you.
Please.
And then he's a virtuoso from Texas. And he's also part of the Latin and Grammy voting. He, I guess, is in charge of voting, or he's part of that committee. His name is Russ Hewitt. Oh my gosh. When I saw the Marty Friedman thing today, he did a song with Marty Friedman. His music
Oh,
is very calming, relaxful, just beautiful. So I'm going to send you his website, and all of his links will be on there too. He's done a couple of shows with these symphony orchestras that are just amazing. I guess during the pandemic, he was doing a show, well, he was in Texas or at a studio, and it was a symphony from Romania. And back and forth, you can see his music style with the symphony orchestra from Romania. And his name is Russ Hewitt. And I'm just blown away by all these different talented musicians from all over. I never thought Shauna would be this big. And you guys, oh my gosh, you both, you and Michelle are incredible. Good people. And Jason too. Jason's a great guy, and I keep on plugging her music out there because I want everyone to know how amazing she is and how
well,
talented too she is.
appreciate that. And you mentioned Jason. So Jason and his partner, trusty sidekick Sean, have a song. They have a band called McCarty, and they have a song coming out that Miss Ryder is going to be the featured vocal. Going to be pretty cool. Um, they just recorded it this past weekend, so look for that. That'll be really exciting.
Anything that they need help with too, I'm more than happy to help out basically a lot of bands because I'm starting to see a trend like you are too, where there's a lack of communication. And a lot of musicians think that we're still in the 80s, where the promoters do all the work because they work and they think, a lot of them, that, oh, she's a
Yeah.
promoter. Well, I have a regular job just like everyone else, and I do the best I can, but and not complaining at all because I'm excited about working with various musicians that I have been. I also have been noticing though that Facebook has changed a lot with the political, now with the Olympics. I'm starting to gear toward LinkedIn a lot more. And LinkedIn's incredible. It's all kinds of booking agents, record labels, CEOs from different companies. And like, let's say I do a post about Michelle. There's something that will come up, like a group, like musicians and professionals. Do you want to add it to this group? So I press yes, and then it will come up with something else, press yes. And instead of likes, it's something called impressions. And it's
Right.
professional. It's great. So if you know anyone that is looking to start winning away from Facebook, let them know about LinkedIn. It's free to sign up and it's free to join.
Yeah, LinkedIn, I do have an account. I when I worked in corporate sales, I used to be on it all the time. Um, the one thing that I found about LinkedIn, and I am going to get now that you're talking about this, I am going to get reacquainted with it. I found I get targeted for a lot of job opportunities that I wasn't looking for,
Oh,
and so I had a couple that hey, we get this perfect opportunity, or HR, like recruiters that would be like, oh, you'd be the perfect person for this. And I've been pleasantly unemployed now for be 3 years on Monday.
mhm.
But I am going to go check that out because, I also know the upside of LinkedIn. It's another great networking tool if used properly is great.
Right.
So fantastic. And I will point out something that you just said. The world is changing, but it's kind of not because, you know, people still think it's the 80s. They still think the promoters are the promoters and the agents are the agents and the managers the managers, the musicians are the musicians. And that's not the case now. You pretty much have to, do it yourself and do a bunch of things. But one of the things that I'm finding, and I don't know if you're finding in what you're doing, is that further to the communication gap, it just seems like it's every man, woman, child, dog, tree for themselves sometimes.
Hmm.
And so instead of, getting 1,000 miles ahead because we're all working together, people are happy with getting 100 miles ahead and going 50 miles back and just kind of doing this thing.
Hmm.
And that's very frustrating, I find.
Yes, it is. It is.
So are you seeing that?
Um, Not so much, but what I do notice though, sometimes if a band wants me to do a promo for them, I'll ask them what they want me to tell them, what I should share, and they'll tell me something. But when I go back on their page just to make sure that I'm giving the correct information, they're using the exact words that they told me not to use. So it's confusing.
Yep. Yep. It is. It is. And that's I'll say this with love in my heart because I am one. Musicians sometimes think they're good promoters or self-promoters, and oftentimes they're not because there's certain things that they self-promotion isn't talking about yourself all the time, right?
Hmm.
Because people get weary of that. Uh, Self-promotion is promoting yourself within a group so that not only you, but the people in the group benefit because when you do that, other people will help you and you can help other people. And it's just kind of community thing. And I find a lot of musicians are, there was a real funny meme the other day. It was somebody it was at a funeral and there was the coffin there. The pastor says, "Does anybody have anything to say before we finish up?" And somebody pipes up, "Yeah, I'm playing this weekend." You know what I mean? So it's like, and that's kind of what you see a lot of, right? Because I
Right,
get it. People want to push themselves, but not everybody wants to hear about you. They want to hear about themselves. You know what I mean?
right,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. So, summer been busy for you? I know, like I see your posts every day. I see all the stuff that you have on the go. Totally appreciate all the work you do for us. It's because it's great to have somebody helping in the U.S.
Thank
Um,
you.
it's fantastic because as is always the case, you got to make it away before your backyard embraces you, which we're seeing, and that's fine. But the summer's been pretty busy for you.
Well, I mean, I work with a little girl. She's 2 years old, but I have some vacation coming up. My daughter's going to be 30 this year,
Ah,
and my fiance and I are going to do some fun things with her. It's a special year for her, but it's also kind of hard because her grandparents who raised her are they both passed away. My dad 13 years
ah,
ago, my mom during the pandemic. And I know it's going to be hard for her. And I mean, it's hard for all of us. So my fiance and I decided we're just gonna do something. We're gonna do some fun, maybe like day trips, local things, take her to a brewery, um, do fun stuff for 5 days. And oh my gosh, about 2 months ago, if anyone you know wants to go check out some great concerts, I won tickets from this radio station and I never win anything. But I signed up from this radio station and this theater. And the theater has been in Connecticut for about 4 years called Hartford Healthcare Amphitheater. And there's something where you can sign up your name, your email address, and your cell. Well, they sent me an email saying I won tickets to see Trombone Shorty. I thought, yeah, right. Well, I tried to contact the theater. They did away with their phones.
Ha.
They didn't use phones in their box office anymore. So I had to email. So they got back and they said, yes, your tickets are legit. He is incredible. He blew me away. He's from New Orleans. He's got this whole orchestra with him. Backup vocalist, trombonist, saxophonist, bass player, guitar player, two different drummers. Oh my gosh, he started with Prince's Let's Get Crazy and ended with Led Zeppelin's Thank You. And he has his own originals. And he started at the age of 5. And his father and grandfather were well known in the meantime in New Orleans. And he's played with Bo Diddley, Winston Marsalis, just to name a few. Oh my gosh, he's touring. So trust me, get out there and see him. You won't be disappointed. And then 2 weeks ago, I won tickets to see Brit Floyd. Again, I thought, oh, this is a scam. It can't be real. Well, sure enough, it was real. So my fiance and I went to the theater. We had fantastic seats. It, and I've never been a Pink Floyd fan, but seeing them, oh my gosh, now they're starting a European tour. Today they were in Malta, UK. They're taking time off up until September, but they're going to be touring Canada next year also. Wow. They had a bass player, guitar player, a keyboardist, 3 backup vocalists, and one of them has the same last name as me. And she's Korean,
Uh,
but she was born in Canada. Her name is Ava Avila. And oh my gosh, when they hit Canada, go see them. The
I've seen
laser
them.
light show is just amazing.
I've seen them twice up here, and an interesting little touch point. The guy that's playing drums with them right now is a gentleman by the name of Randy Cook.
Okay.
Um, and Randy Cook is Canadian. And when I was getting prepared to record demos for a record label that we were signed with, I didn't know how to play it with a click track in the studio. So Randy Cook is the guy that I actually work with to be able to get that,
Oh
and now
my
I do it all the
goodness,
time.
small world.
He moved to LA, gosh, 25 years ago. But he played up here in Canada with like Lee Aaron, Rick Emmett from Triumph. And he's a often highly sought after session guy, but he's playing with Bert Floyd now. So, uh,
Mm,
great guy there. That's incredible.
yep. And that's his time. Well, I mean, Creed is coming next week. And
Okay.
as much as I would love to go with 2 other bands, the ticket price is $163 each.
See
There's no
Creed.
way. Creed and 2 other bands.
Okay.
That's ridiculous. I mean, everything is going up, but no. I mean,
Yeah. I
I'm
don't,
going to see this Kiss tribute.
yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to
I don't
see
want to,
Tito
I
Puente
don't want,
Jr.
I don't want to sound negative. Like across the street to go see Creed. So at $150, that's kind of a deal breaker for me. And they're back together, I guess, after 20 years or whatever the heck it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, ticket prices are getting just ridiculous. I mean, every the
And the
everything is
fees
getting
that they don't
ridiculous.
tell you about too.
No, everything is just getting crazy. It's it's everything from groceries to gas to ticket prices to
Yes.
everything. Um, it's just really quite sad, and not to get into a
Yes.
whole political thing because that's not fun. But I mean, uh, I wouldn't call them you know great keepers of tax dollars because it just seems like an awful lot goes out the window when it doesn't need to. But that's another
Mm-hmm.
topic for another day. Um,
Right.
so for are you actively still looking for bands to take on and promote?
I say I'm not, but there might be one or two.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, I was just thinking about the theaters and the concerts.
yeah.
We all went to an outdoor concert to see Iron Maiden. We took my daughter probably right before COVID. Well, sure enough, I didn't know it. It wasn't advertised on the website. There was a $10 bathroom fee to use the
Ah,
bathroom once. They charge you $10.
wow.
Enough people complained and they stopped it. But before you go to any concert, before you go to any theater, call them up and ask them, hey, is there a bathroom fee?
That's
because
incredible.
it wouldn't surprise me that they're doing that. And now a lot of theaters are going cashless because they want to see what the count was of how much they're making. But at the same time, people are getting hacked with their debit and their credit cards. So many people I know are carrying cash now just because of it. And a lot of these
So
places are not carrying cash anymore.
we had a thing up here in Canada last week where one of our major banks had their technology essentially go down. And it happened on a day where I don't know if they do it in the States. Up here, they call it baby bonuses, where the government gives you money for having kids up to a certain age.
Mhm.
And people that, were supposed to get payments and pension payments. And my mother, has a pension, and nobody got them for like a couple days.
Oh,
And the big rub was great. Now there's going to be NSF charges if people needed that money, and the bank came back and said we wouldn't do that. But they're forcing you to go cashless, but then things like this happen, so it's pretty
right.
crazy.
Last week, a couple of weeks ago, my daughter had to go to reissue her state ID. Well, the day before, all the computers,
Yeah,
technology was shut down. So people that, were trying to use credit card and stuff, they couldn't to purchase anything.
yeah, it's nuts, man. It's maddening, but there's people way smarter than me that are left
Yeah.
to be the stewards of that. So Christina, if any of the people that are watching this that are bands that are looking to have some representation in the United States and they wanted to, I'll gently say audition for you for your services, how might they be able to get a hold? And I can honestly vouch for Christina because she's been doing a lot of work for me down there. She's been doing a lot of work for Michelle Ryder, and she's a total pro. So if people want to connect with you, how do they do that?
Well, I have a Facebook page. I also have
Yep.
a business page, which is www.facebook.com/crazycuban73 because I am part Cuban. I have an
Yeah.
Instagram page, which is at crazycuban73. And now I have a LinkedIn. I'm fairly new to it, so just look up Christina Avila with a black and silver artist logo. Oh,
Always a pleasure.
and my
Sorry.
email addresses too. I'm sorry. One
Yep.
is ChristinaAvila41 at gmail.com, and the other one is crazycuban41 at gmail.com.
Awesome. Always a pleasure. I'm sure we're going to do this again very soon because you keep bringing people on. You keep having stuff on the go. Want to thank you.
Thank you so much.
Back on the Rock Rage Radio Network after this.